The Yankees, to me, are on the brink of spiraling out of control. The Yankees have zero depth. The Yankees have a C-level lineup. And everything that was up for grabs in my mind 2 weeks ago, 100-plus wins, run away with the division, I'm not even worried about that right now. I look at this Subway Series and the energy and the emotion and all the fun and all the nuttiness that it entails. The New York Yankees, even though they've got a much better record than the Mets, the Yankees need this series more than your Mets.
You see, I think it's the Mets, BT, because it brings credibility to what they've been doing here. Do it against the Yankees. I know they've beaten some decent teams here, but they're at home. They're the ones that are rolling. They have all the momentum here. Go out there and show that you can compete. You want to be a playoff team? At the very least, they're going to have to win a game, and they need to be competitive in both games in this series. You lose a game, okay, it happens. Yankees are a good ball club, but the Yankees right now are vulnerable. Now, Garrett Cole on the mound tonight. Different story. If you could ever beat their ace, you're really rolling. But I think the Mets need this here, BT. I'm not going to lower. Now that I'm all in, I'm not lowering my expectations and being like, wow, yeah, the Yankees are a significantly better team record-wise all year. I don't care where they're at right now. So it's okay if the Mets lose a series or get swept in these two games. No, nonsense. Anything less than winning another series, and to win this series, you're going to have to win both games. I don't care. Anything less than winning the series, to me, is not acceptable for a team that now has the expectations of being a playoff team. Oh, and by the way, it would be a nice, we talked about this yesterday, a nice finishing touch on getting back to 500. Sweep the Yankees, get to 500, and boom, steamroll the rest of the way to the postseason.
See, I respect that. I just think I look at the Mets here and what their path is going to entail. It's going to be a slog all year in the NL. So when I say that the Yankees need the series more, that's not about, well, from a Mets perspective, that's not me intimating, well, the Mets fans should be happy with the way they're playing. No, be greedy. Absolutely. Go out there, win these two games, get to 500, keep the train moving, get Senga back, whatever addition you guys will make, and you'll make one or two, I would imagine, by the time the trade deadline ends. I get that. I truly do. But to me, like think about, at least from the Yankees' perspective, like the fans, and forget about the fans for a second, because that matters. But to me, that is an ancillary piece here. The New York Yankees, to me, when you strip away all the things they've done so far and you evaluate them right now as we get toward the 4th of July, the Yankees look a little broken. The Mets look to me as if they're still overachieving a little bit, not to minimize the run. And I think the Mets can maybe sneak out 80-something wins, 85 wins, and mess around, get a wild card. I said that yesterday. Yep. I'm not minimizing what they've done. But the Yankees, I think that their path and their trajectory and the problems and the pitfalls that they will be facing are still being overlooked, because most Yankee fans sit there and just say, we got Soto, we got Judge, we're good to go. What else you got? Right. Honestly, what else do the Yankees have?
Well, one of the best records in baseball.
I don't care about that. Yeah. I'm talking about moving forward.
Right, but
that's my point, though. Moving forward.
But part of our argument for the Mets has been, well, look at the rest of the National League. So part of my counter with the Yankees is going to be, okay, well, look at the rest of the American League. And I know, BT, what you're saying. They're held to a higher standard. We're not talking about making the playoffs, because they'll do that in their sleep this year. We're talking about the Yankees being a World Series team. Have you noticed Baltimore's lost 4 in a row?
I know.
So, yeah, they beat the Yankees 2 out of 3, but they have their own issues. Every team in the American League has some flaws, and we're now seeing the Yankees really for the first time this season struggle. You mentioned, 4 or 5 series?
Yes.
They've lost 3 in a row and 4 or 5. Okay, they'll right the ship eventually. They'll start to get some guys back healthy eventually. I don't, even if they get swept by the Mets, yeah, it's embarrassing, and I'm going to let you Yankee fans hear about it for a while. But ultimately, so what? They'll be 52-30. If the Mets lose 2 games, they fall 4 games under 500. I think it's more harmful for the Mets if they lose this series and get swept in this series than it is for the Yankees.
All right, 888-808-1019. BT and Sal on the Fan. Brandon's here to Sal the Cotta Show. It's going to be fun. We've worked our way up to this point, and boy, what an improbable script, as I said to start the show. I mean, think about the preseason thoughts, and Mets could do this, Yanks will be this, and then all of a sudden, 0-5, disgraceful. They look like an expansion team from the Mets' perspective. They somehow find a way, they regenerate, they start to restore a little confidence, and then the Met fans still not really getting ready to attack that little hook that I asked you many times, Sal, you going to take a little stamp at that hook? No, this goes back weeks. No. Sal's starting to move toward the hook, understandably so. Mets, because their stars are playing better, whereas the Yankees, it's the exact opposite. They came flying out of the chute. They looked great against Houston, look good against the Diamondbacks. Soto's this, Judge is cold, doesn't matter. Volpe's great, pitching amazing. And here we are, the first Subway Series, and Stanton's gone for a month. Dominguez ain't coming back for 2 months. You don't have a third baseman. First base is a mess. Nobody believes in Torres. Catching situation's a mess. Holmes is shaky as a closer. And now you're playing guys, Grisham, etc., that are supposed to be 24th, 25th man on the roster. That's the problem for the Yankees. J.D.
Davis, the Yankees traded for Matt.
Can I have the other JD? Can I have JD Martinez?
Davis. Well, get ready.
Can I have him?
Because you gave the Yankee fans a little, what'd you say, warning flare?
I did.
No,
I did.
No, I'm going to give it to
Go
you.
ahead.
You're about to face the hottest team in baseball, the team with the best record in the month of June, a lineup that is on fire. Get ready, Yankee fans, because the Mets are going to steamroll you this week. I love it, BT. My only hesitation, all kidding aside, is the pitching clearly favors the Yankees with Cole and Heel. But I do believe Lindor specifically early on, I could see him getting a Garrett Cole. Now, I trust Garrett Cole more than anybody, but he's still working his way back. Going through, 60 pitches last time out?
Yeah, his pitch count's still low.
So it's not like Garrett Cole is, mid-season form.
No.
So he might be vulnerable. And Luis Heel has also shown that he can be vulnerable the last couple of times.
Dodgers, Red Sox.
On paper, the clear advantage in pitching matchups goes to the Yankees.
Yeah.
But with the way the Mets lineup is going and being with the little doubt because it's second start for Cole and the way Heel's been going, I really do think the Mets could win both these games here.
They could. Let me say this, too, before we get to these calls. By the way,
and they will.
We're getting predictions. I like it.
Baby,
Good.
I'm fired up.
There you go. 10 minutes in. By the way, I see that you made amends with Grimace last night on SNY. We'll get to that.
It was time to bury the hatchet.
You tucked your tail between your legs. You came crawling back.
It was time to bury that. Hey,
Jesus.
you know what? He gave me a season back.
Yeah,
I don't care who did it. Thank you, Grimace. I'm all in.
You should be. We're inside of our Town Fair Tire studio. Our friends at Town Fair remind you that you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. I can't prove this, okay? But this should, I think, further illuminate what I'm feeling about both of these teams. If the Mets get swept, again, I can't prove this. This is my gut right now based on both teams. If the Mets were to lose both, I could still see the Mets finding a way, win 2 out of 3, 5 out of 7. If the Yankees get swept, the direction that they've been, I feel like it's going to widen.
Interesting.
Or deepen. Their hole's going to deepen. The Yankees have issues. See, they got 2 studs, and that's pretty much it.
They do have issues, and obviously the optics of it, or just the reality of it, if you get swept by the Mets, it's not going to be good. I mean, people are going to start to go nuts because that'll be the final, hey,
talking about the emotion because of the Mets, because it's the Mets. Yes. I don't even get too wrapped up in that. It would bother me, but to me, it's a bigger picture thing.
Yeah, it's not just that. It's losing 2 of 3 to the Dodgers, losing 2 of 3 to the Red Sox, losing 2 of 3 to the Orioles, losing 2 of 3 to the Braves. If you wash that down with getting swept by the Mets, the Yankee fans going to start to be, all right, enough's enough. I know we have one of the best teams here, but let's pick it up. I do think ultimately, though, beyond this week, the Yankees are going to be fine. Whereas, and I will tell you this, now that I'm on, similar to you with the Yankees, we've both kind of flipped where we were at. Based on what we were seeing,
sure.
You went, you know what, Cashman, he's on an apology, it's a victory lap, whatever. And then you came to your senses and said, I was right the first time. I should have stuck to that. This team is not as deep. And with me, I kind of believed in the Mets early on before they ever played a game this year on paper. And then I saw them and I was like, I was wrong for even remotely thinking they were going to be good. They're not a playoff team. Now I'm all in firmly believing that they're a playoff team. So even if they get swept, I trust, because I've seen them do it, that they're going to come out of it again and be a team that's going to be competing for the playoffs. So I still think, though, they need it more right now, because if they can't get the Yankees when the Yankees are vulnerable and the Mets are at home and the Mets are on a heater, then it makes you feel like, well, when are they going to be able to get the Yankees?
The bottom line is this, Sal. The Mets probably weren't as bad as they looked to start the season, and the Yankees probably weren't as good as they looked to start the season.
Right.
Let's go. We've got a couple of games to flush through it.
I gave you where I feel confidence level. Where are you at with that going into these?
I'm excited because it's always fun. I'm not incredibly confident. I mean, I don't know how many times I need to say the Yankees don't look good.
They
don't look good.
Right,
they are not playing well. Well, deep down, meaning
Like,
what?
you think they lose both these games?
I think they split.
Okay.
I think it's a split here. I really do, which is kind of, yeah.
Oh, because it's 2 games. It sucks.
Yeah,
man.
we talked about that yesterday.
Need
but
some blood.
It's going to be fun. Mets look really good. Stunningly, based on the optics at the start of the season, Mets seem to be a different team. The Yankees, a lot of things they couldn't control, but you still gotta deal with this. I mean, the Mets didn't have Senga to start. They didn't have some things in their favor to go. Yankees were very healthy. They dodged a lot of bullets. We thought, oh, maybe Judge is hurt out of spring training. He wasn't. He didn't play well in April, and then he's become Judge again. And then the injuries start rolling in. Rizzo goes down, and obviously Stanton's gone for a month, and Dominguez is gone for 2 months. So not only has the records kind of flipped here, the recent trends, but the circumstances, both favorably and unfavorably, are going in different directions. Charlie's in Bethpage, BT and Sal here on The Fan. What's going on, Charlie? How are you?
I'm doing good, boys. Listen, I feel the Mets. I'm with Sal. This means more to them. They're playing the hottest baseball in the month of June. I'm looking forward to it. They got me back into it. I didn't believe in this team a while ago. I still don't have a lot of faith in them, but they're showing me a lot. The lineup is hitting the ball. The Yankees, they got too many holes to fill. So this has got to be a Mets dominance, but with cold pitching, that's kind of tough. But the Mets need this more than the Yankees because they got to show it. And everyone's playing well, and they got to get up there. All the top hitters got to hit. Finally, we get to see it. And Alvarez has been the big difference. Once he came back, he's the true captain of the team. He's the leader of that team. They're a different team when he came back from his injury.
Well, I think it's more. Look, we should not minimize the impact that Alvarez has had, Charlie, and thank you for the call. I think it's more J.D. Martinez, but I think you touched on something there. As far as the Mets needing it more, I think one of the reasons why, BT, I feel like that, and maybe Charlie as well, is because for the Mets, the Yankees are not just another team. For the Yankees, I do think the Mets ultimately are just another team. Like, the Yankees are struggling right now. So even if this were 2 games against, anybody but the Twins, you'd be like, hey, go out there and win these games. Like, you got to stop, win a series here, stop the bleeding. Whereas the Mets, they don't need to stop the bleeding because they're going well right now, but they need to prove that they could beat the big brother and a good team. It's not, and again, I know it's June, so it still doesn't, okay, well, losing 2 out of 3 to a good team, what does that really mean? Or beating a good team 2 out of 3. But for them, it does bring legitimacy to what they're doing, at least for me. Oh, and by the way, it does get you back to 500.
The other thing that this might do for the Mets perspective here, now, Cohen has talked about, the moves, and we'll see. We think we're a playoff team. If the Mets were to sweep the Yankees, right, and the energy that would bring, then that would create that additional fervor, it might embolden him even more to start thinking, just because of the residue that comes with beating the Yankees, he might start getting even more aggressive than we think he's going to be, Cohen.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen. At this point, I'd like the Mets to be aggressive. They've talked one way. They've been steady in, saying, hey, look, even when they were playing bad, they said, right now we don't look like a playoff team, but we have 6 weeks to go before the deadline. We'll evaluate everything. But they've ultimately never wanted to sell, and they believed in this team. So from the outside, I believe now that they are going to definitively be buyers. I don't know if it should be more aggressive because they sweep the Yankees, although I do think it's more, it's important to beat the Yankees, period. That's why we care about the Subway Series, the trash talk back and forth. It's fun. It's what makes these regular season games. You heard David Wright talk about it yesterday. We'll talk to Matt Harvey coming up at 11 today. It's just different for both sides. But for me, even more important would be getting back to 500. And if I'm Cohen and I see my team not only beat the Yankees, but get back to 500 as we approach July, I'm thinking, you know what? These guys deserve it now for me to add to this club because they were down 11 games under, all the nonsense that went on with them, looking lifeless, looking awful. Everybody talking about trade everybody, sell at the deadline. Now, if they get to 500 here, especially against the Yankees, then maybe that would make me more inclined to definitively make my choice. We are buying.
What percentage of Yankee fans do you think find their way into the stadium tonight? Would have been different if the Mets were still bleeding out a little bit, probably.
Are we going
15, 20%, 20%, 25%?
I would say more than
that. A little
that.
more than that? 30?
I'm probably 65, 35. I was going to say 60-40. That might be too much.
If the Met fan lets that happen, 40%.
But it's always a hefty, even in Yankee Stadium, it's not like it's going to be 90-10.
No, but it's not going to be 60-40 in the Bronx. You know it's not.
I'm hoping for 70-30.
Yeah.
That I think would be, I'd sign for that.
Okay.
70-30.
Okay.
It should be, yeah, you're right. With the way the Mets are playing right now, it should be.
Yeah, I could see if they were down, you make a few $100 extra on the tickets, but Mets are playing great.
Should be a good advantage. Put it this way. I would go to, I'm not going to, I got to work all day, but if I'm, feeling good about this team, I'm not looking to, anything could happen. You go there, you get embarrassed, team wins, whatever, but I feel good right now. And if I'm feeling like that, and I'm always worried about the Yankee stuff because I dealt with it since 1997 going to these games, but I feel like this is a time where I'd be inclined to say, you know what? Let's go to that game tonight.
888-808-1019, BT and Sal on the Fan Branded Tierney Sal Licata Show. So let's face it, we talk about this and we hype it up. And yeah, it's 2 out of 162, but it means more. Always has, always will. There's games where you don't really think, more so with the Mets, no disrespect.
Yeah.
That, not much of a chance to do something. There's been a lot of series where it's like, all right, the Mets come limping in, or we know deep down the Yankees don't have it like real championship Yankee teams. But boy, oh boy, this is unique. Just, I don't know that we've ever quite seen this, where the Mets were so, by mostly everybody, including me, so resolutely written off, dead, traded.
Yeah.
I still don't believe in the core, but trade them off, done, dead, 30 games in, not it, that you cooked, body bag, toe tag, and the Yankees are going to win 105 games, and now it's just a stark reversal. It's a crazy script. It's a very unique script this year.
So much so that even though, it's a big week for us and we want to make sure we work the Subway Series, but I was like, oh, God. It's Subway Series, but we already know the Mets are toast. It's going to be their World Series. They can't even compete with the Yankees. And now everything's changed. Now, even though one's significantly better than the other record-wise, I feel like things have been leveled here, where the Mets have a legitimate chance to do some damage against the Yankees here and give their fans a little more enjoyment.
All right.